Alright, what is up, guys? No, I'm not really wearing the same clothes I wore yesterday. Yes, I did put the same shirt on, but it's kind of like when I wake up, I have like a, a pair of pajama pants and a random shirt that I'll put on in the morning, or I say in the morning and I walk out on like a black. Ooh, dude, the moon looks great tonight. I walk out in a dark ass porch. Let's go show you the moon real quick, though. You gotta see this. The tree's kind of in the way, so we're gonna go out in the backyard for a bit. I don't know how you're gonna be able to see this. It's not quite full. There's a little edge. Oh, hey, kitty. There's a little edge off to the side there. I think that's pretty cool. All right. Hey, cat, what's up? So yeah, uh, I generally just like throw a shirt and some pajama pants on before I get ready for the day. And then I'll like take a shower, find some jeans and stuff to put on. Hey, kitty, come on. But yeah, I've already made the coffee. Same as yesterday. We have the kind of crappy. Like, I gotta find the light. It's just too dark. I like it being dark, but the camera doesn't. So, I actually turn all these lights off, including the kitchen light. Actually, why is that kitchen light even on? I'm just being random as fuck right now. Hey, kitty, you gonna come out and chill? Okay. So, I'm trying to get my train of thought, Charlie. Stop interrupting me. I don't know if you guys are aware of the Lil Tay situation, but that kind of breaks my heart. You know, I watched a video on stream. I actually watched it before stream and then I watched it again. I wanted to talk about the Lil Tay situation on stream, and Gold was gonna react to a video. We were gonna watch it. We were gonna react to Gold reacting, but I didn't like the video he was watching, so I went back and watched the original video I watched about it, which was by a guy named Jamari, Jamari. Pretty good video. I think it really sums up the situation well and provides a lot of context to the background. If you don't know, a Little Tay is, well, I guess was a meme creator. Now she's just another internet prostitute. But she had this thing going where she was like a little girl, like 9 or 10 years old, and she would just flex and say like offensive things. And it was a funny stick when it first happened. But, a lot of people were not too fond of it because they were like, what are you doing allowing this little girl to talk like this and act like this on social media? But it was a situation I had mixed feelings about because it was pretty clear she was being coached, and then it came out that she was being coached. There was like a whole video where it was pretty obvious her brother was coaching her, like literally you could hear it. And then that kind of like caused her to fall off, right? Because people are like, oh, she's being coached, and why does it matter? You're just going back out again, cat? Why are you so whiny? And then, oh, now he like begs for me to open the door, and then I open the door. Charlie, what is wrong with you? Just stop whining. I'm working. All right. So, when it came out that she was obviously being coached, she kind of fell off because it wasn't as entertaining for a lot of people anymore. My whole thing was I thought it was funny like once, like, and then it was just like, okay, is this really all you do for content? And she basically disappeared from my consciousness after like the one or two times I saw it. The only time I recall hearing about her again after the first time I saw one of the videos was she got into a beef with that bad baby and whoa Vicky girl, and it was like the weirdest shit. It was like it was just weird. There were a bunch of like just look it up. It's a strange situation where there's just like a bunch of dudes around them and but they're like having this ratchet ass fight and stuff. It's insane. So those were like the only two things I'd really paid attention to her. And then there was like this whole thing where she faked her death. And that was kind of fucked up. Then tried to blame everything on her dad and her parents. And I'm sure a lot of it is their fault, if not all of it. Because I think the primary reason we see so many problems with today's society is the lack of any kind of decent parenting whatsoever. And I think parents really need to start being held accountable for the misbehavior of their children, at least until their children are adults, you know? But that brings us to the Lil Tay situation where she's an adult now. And, you know, she could have went and go made herself an actual career, but instead she went and sold her body and potentially her soul for a bag. Now, I'll be the first to say I don't have any problem with sex work on the grand scheme of things. You know, it's the oldest profession in the book. I think in a lot of ways, just legalizing sex work is better than a lot of these AI girlfriends because that shit, I that's just gonna lead to the spiraling. There's part of me that it's like cool. These like degenerate pieces of shit are removing themselves from the gene pool by like obsessing over some fucking robot on their phone. Awesome. But at the same time, it's causing people to be less socialized and less able to participate in society than ever before. Because it's like the only time you talk to women, it's not even a real woman. It's just some bot that's programmed to tell you exactly what you want to hear. You're not going to be able to interact with people in any kind of real life situation, even if it's not sexual or romantic in nature. You know, just having those bots are programmed to cater to you and tell you what you want to hear. So it's like the whole Carl Jobs situation where the AI kept telling him he had like a 90% chance of winning. There was absolutely no chance he could lose the case against Billy Mitchell. And then he got fucked in ways that I've basically never seen another creator get fucked. It ended up being exactly the opposite. So I'm totally fine with women going out and getting their bag the old fashioned way, so to speak. But there's several things here. One, it looked like when she did come back, she was kind of attempting to do a legitimate career, right? She put out a couple songs and I checked those out. I talked about them on stream. I didn't review them on stream, but there were two that I was aware of. One, kind of decent. It's not my vibe, but it's like Taylor Swift sad girl guitar music type stuff. And you know, I think if she'd stuck with that, she would have been hugely successful. But then the other one, it's like some Daft Punk knockoff where she just repeats the same stupid lyrics over and over again, and she's wearing really tight clothing and short skirts and stuff, and it's just like, all right, uh sure, every artist is going to experiment a little, but it did worry me about the direction she was going, because especially the way she started, I don't think that's a good way for a kid to grow up, you know? And at first it was an act because she was clearly being coached, but now I'm wondering if she's just become the demon, so to speak. And the way Jamari was presenting the video, I was really hoping she was just trolling, you know? That would have been one of the greatest moments of internet history. And it would have been so on brand, too, if you ask me. Because the whole thing was like, so she started teasing it on her Twitter when she was 17, going up to her 18th birthday, that she was going to drop her OnlyFans link the night of her 18th birthday. And I was like, dear God, no. But she was doing it with like the characteristic flexing, like disrespectful stuff. And part of me was like, what if she's just trolling, right? What if it's all an act and she's gonna like rickroll people or something? Because she kept on talking about dropping the link, you know? And if I guess I expect people to be more clever than they actually are. I was like, oh, the link. She's not saying what the link is. Maybe it's gonna be a link to a Rickroll or something like that. But what I was really hoping is, especially now, this is all just watching the Jamari video. I didn't even know about this until other people started talking about it, because I after the music videos I kind of forgot she existed again, right? And that's probably why she's doing all this. She's just desperate to stay relevant. But it was one of those things where I was really hoping. She called him like the one tweet that he showed that got me, that made me think maybe this was all going to be like an act or a troll, was she said something like, "Where the pay pigs at?" I was like, please let the link be like a video that's just calling them disgusting predator pigs and stuff like that. That would have been so good. Like, just imagine the Little Tay, like, disrespectful shit talking, uh, railing on these degenerate dudes for creeping on her for however long it's been, like 7 years or some shit like that. I don't know. But oh, it would have been perfect just to like set them up like that and then shut them down. But no, she just went and she laid on her back and sold her body for a bag. So not only do I kind of lose a little bit of respect for that, but I feel like it destroys her entire brand, right? Because people don't respect sex workers that flex. And you know, before she was a content creator, and now, and I would say I'm hesitant to call a lot of people content creators today. I don't think sex workers are really content creators. They're not creating anything. They're just selling their body. And again, I don't have a problem with that, but you have to acknowledge reality, right? It's like people aren't there for your your personality. They're not paying $1 million in 3 hours to hear about your opinion. They're doing it just to get their rocks off. You're basically nothing more than a sex toy to them at that point. So it's like she would lower and debased herself for a bag, and now she can't flex anymore the way she used to, because if she did, it's just going to be a bunch of people calling her a whore and things like that. So it's like, and I don't have a problem with people actually doing that. You know, Jesus himself loved the hose. Just ask Mary Magdalene. But she had so much potential, and she just threw it all away. She ruined her brand image, in my opinion. And I just think she's going to keep spiraling from here on, because I'm really worried that it's not even just her body that was sold, but actually her soul. I I'm curious to see how this all plays out, but it's definitely heartbreaking, you know. And I think the worst part for me is really the example that she's setting for all these little girls. Because if you look at like 90%, maybe not 90, but I just made that number up. I will admit it. If you look at a lot of these OnlyFans creators, they end up regretting it after a couple years. I remember that Pinky, whatever her face, she was like this super dumb NPC streamer. I I like listened to one or two interviews of her, and I it's like it was infuriating how stupid she was just listening to her talk. And the worst part was when she started crying because her son was going to see pictures of her naked. It was like, well, yes, if you didn't want your son to see pictures of you naked, like being a sexual degenerate, then you shouldn't have taken and posted those pictures, you stupid fuck, right? Look at Mia Khalifa, where she's just forever known as a porn star, and she's never been able to do anything but that career. Now, a lot of it's her own fault because she just keeps using her porn name. And if you want to be if you don't want to be called a porn star, don't use your porn name anymore. But now, Lil Tay is forever a porn star. It's just one of those things where at least she's owning it. She had one of the pictures he showed was a shirt where it said something like porn star amateur or something like that. And at least I can respect that. I don't know if she's aware of the whole reality and the consequences of everything, but at the very least, she seems to understand at least a small part of it. And it makes me think of a quote by Louis Rossman, who's a right to repair and consumer rights advocate content creator that I absolutely love. He's got this quote he says a lot: if you're going to be the asshole, be the whole asshole. And you know, at least she's acknowledging that she sold out for money. But it is kind of heartbreaking. And I just wonder what the next generation's gonna be like when these are the people that are functionally, in some ways, they're idols. You know, it's kind of scary to say that. But I just, I think this is absolutely a perfect example of why kids shouldn't really be on social media. It absolutely ruins their brains. And I can't help but wonder how she's going to feel when she looks back on this like 10 or 20 years from now. Like, lots of these women end up growing up to regret all of this. And it's going to be an interesting storyline for her, to say the least. I will continue to pray for her and hope that she sees success, but man, I don't know. It's just heartbreaking is the main thing. You know what? Maybe I don't really have a right to say anything like this, because who am I to judge, right? And I'm doing my best not to judge, but again, I just worry what kind of example she's setting for other people. That's my big concern. Like, go ahead, girl, get your bag, do whatever you want. But at the same time, pay attention to the ripples that you're creating in society, you know? I guess that's all I really have to say on the situation. We got more videos uploading and rendering right now. Gonna work on the basement a little bit and do the stream again whenever that's done. My plan today, this week, really, is to start working on the back end stuff I need to do to bring the Sunday stream back. And I have to admit, it's partially been. I'm partially motivated by all this random shit happening to bring that Sunday stream back, where I'm going to read the book of Revelation. Before I read the entire New Testament on stream when I first started the Sunday stream, but this time we're just going to focus on the book of Revelation because I feel like there's some important warnings in there that most people are either missing or just simply not aware of. So, parents, please make sure you build some strong moral fiber, and if you even can, solid principles into your children, because I feel like the world in general is just continually sliding more into darkness. And when we have people like this becoming celebrities and getting these massive following, it's just, I don't think it's good for society as a whole. And that's really why I do all of this. You know, it'd be a lot easier. My life would be so much less stressful if I just stopped uploading content and focused on quietly making money and disappearing back into the shadows. I love darkness. One of my favorite things is just to sit here on the porch in quiet, maybe roll up a little J with some hemp and listen to the night, not be bothered by anyone, not have to worry about what's going on in social media. But I spent a lot of time doing that and watching the world get darker. And you know what really spurred me into action, I think, among other things, was Poppy, specifically the Blood Money song, where she just fucking yells at you, keep telling yourself that you've been playing nice and go beg for forgiveness from Jesus the Christ. That made me feel pretty shitty, where I was just like the whole world was my fault almost. Like, I've been letting the world slide into darkness and I haven't been doing enough to stop it. So that's the real reason why I keep uploading, even though I feel like I'm just beating my head against a brick wall and nobody's listening or paying attention. I know it's probably utterly futile because, like, what can one man do against the banks, the military industrial complex, the OnlyFans and similar corporations, or even like these dudes that have whole gangs behind their music of just promoting the most debaucherous shit, you know? Like, but then I sit back and I think about it, and I'm like, it doesn't even matter if I can have any kind of effect at all in the grand scheme of things, because when all is said and done, and I come face to face with God, I want to be able to say, I did my best. Honestly and truthfully, I did my best to make the world a better place. And that's all we can ever do, right? I'm not claiming to have a monopoly on morality or wisdom or anything like that. I could all be wrong. Maybe I'm in the wrong and this is exactly what women should be doing. Just putting it all out there. Uh, be the whole asshole by showing your whole asshole to the internet. I don't know. But it's one of those things where it does. The most annoying thing for me as a content creator is she had the golden opportunity to make one of the greatest pieces of content the internet has ever seen, in my opinion. Like, create this honeypot for these predators and these fucking debaucherous, lonely, fucking incel dudes, and just curse them out for being what they are. And instead, she just gave in to them. I don't know. Anyways, I think that's enough ranting for one day. May God have mercy on my soul and hers and all of yours too. I love you, and God bless. Cheers.